Rachel Zegler didn't just annoy fans with her casting as Snow White, she made things a lot worse with some shocking comments that may have ruined her career for good. From calling the prince a stalker to admitting she didn't even like the original Snow White, Rachel has sparked outrage in ways you won't believe. But when did it all go downhill for her, and how is it affecting her future projects like The Hunger Games? Let's dive into the exact moment she crossed the line and why fans are saying it's all over for her. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel and enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. From showing disdain for the original Snow White to labeling the prince a stalker, Rachel Zegler has done much more than just irritate fans. The moment she truly sabotaged her own career stems from a string of controversial remarks that left audiences stunned. When beloved classics like Disney's 1937 Snow White are remade, fans often worry about modern influences distorting the nostalgic charm these films hold. The backlash began when Rachel was announced as the lead in the live-action remake of Snow White. Many people felt she wasn't the right fit, arguing that, as a Latina, she didn't match the character's original description of having skin as white as snow. This casting choice ignited a heated debate online, particularly when conservative commentator Ben Shapiro expressed his view that Rachel's portrayal didn't make sense. He argued that both the character's name and identity are intrinsically tied to being white literally, as the name suggests. Despite identifying as a white Latina, Rachel's selection for the role faced heavy scrutiny. Matt Walsh, another commentator, went even further, calling Rachel's casting a form of anti-white racism and cultural appropriation. The escalating tensions around Rachel's casting reached a boiling point when she decided to respond. Taking to social media, she expressed her gratitude toward her defenders, but also made it clear that she didn't want to be tagged in what she referred to as nonsensical discourse. About her casting. In her post, she included childhood photos of herself dressed as a Disney princess, ending with a hopeful message that every child should feel like they can be a princess. As the initial backlash over Rachel's casting began to fade, the internet found a new reason to be upset. In an interview with Variety in September 2022, Rachel and her co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen in the live-action remake, discussed what audiences could expect from their modern interpretation of Snow White. Rachel made a remark that many fans found particularly bizarre, implying that it was no longer 1937 and that much of what the original Snow White character did back then wouldn't fly today. Gal Gadot chimed in, mentioning that in this modern retelling, Snow White wouldn't be saved by the prince, as was the case in the original. However, Rachel took things a step further, stating that many of the beloved elements from the original storyline simply wouldn't be included in the new version. This statement ignited a wave of reactions, particularly on TikTok, where one video criticizing Rachel's comments went viral, garnering over 12 million views. The TikToker behind the clip accused Rachel of promoting pseudo-feminism, arguing that criticizing classic Disney princesses for not being leaders isn't a feminist perspective. The backlash against Rachel intensified, revealing a growing disconnect between her and fans of the original film. But Rachel wasn't done yet. During a promotional tour for the movie with Entertainment Weekly in December 2022, she candidly admitted that she was actually afraid of the original Snow White. "I think I watched it once and never picked it up again," she confessed, adding, "I'm being so serious." Rachel recounted her unsettling experience on the Snow White-themed ride at Disney World called Snow White's Scary Adventures, describing how it left her shaken as a child. She revealed that her first and only experience with the ride made her want to avoid anything related to Snow White for years until she eventually landed the live-action role. Typically, actors who take on roles in the remakes of iconic films are fans of the original version and are excited to share their love for it. Rachel, however, openly criticized what she considered plot holes in the 1937 Snow White, expressing relief that the live-action remake was taking a new direction. Her bluntness didn't sit well with fans who were already on edge about the changes being made. Many voiced their frustration, arguing that if Rachel disliked the original version so much, she should have simply turned down the role. In an interview with Extra TV, Rachel reiterated that the remake would take a different approach, hinting that the classic love story that many cherished would no longer be central to the plot. She suggested that while a male character might still appear, his presence wouldn't be essential, with audiences only interpreting his appearance as romantic because of their familiarity with the original storyline. Rachel's comments about the prince didn't stop there. She described him as a stalker, prompting yet another wave of outrage among fans. She joked that his character might be completely cut from the film, teasing that in Hollywood, anything could happen. According to Rachel, Andrew Burnap, cast as the prince, would have little to no role in Snow White's journey due to the film's new direction. As Rachel continued to emphasize this modern take, fan discontent grew. Her repeated jabs at the classic version, coupled with her insistence that the prince was irrelevant, deepened the divide between her and the audience. What many once cherished as a beloved fairy tale seemed to be reduced to a shadow of its former self, and Rachel's constant criticism solidified their discontent. Not surprisingly, Rachel Zegler's remarks did not only unsettle fans, but also caught the attention of David Hand, the son of the original Snow White director. In a candid interview, he expressed his discontent with the remake's direction, criticizing what he perceived as unnecessary modernization that undermined the essence of the original characters. Hand's critique resonated with many fans, further fueling the backlash against Rachel. As the controversy escalated, some fans began calling for a full boycott of her projects, flooding social media with hashtags and pledges to avoid any future films she might star in. Ironically, amid this uproar, Rachel was also the lead in another major project, The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a prequel to the beloved Hunger Games series set to release in November 2023. However, the controversy surrounding her role in Snow White inevitably impacted her other work. Fans began expressing concerns over whether she was the right fit for such a cherished franchise. One Twitter user bluntly remarked, "It looks like a dumb movie anyway," mirroring the disappointment many felt regarding both Snow White and the Hunger Games reboot. Fans of the Hunger Games were particularly fond of Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of Katniss Everdeen, the strong and resilient heroine of the original series. When director Francis Lawrence revealed that Rachel's character, Lucy Greybeard, was intended to be the anti-Katniss, skepticism surrounding Rachel's involvement only grew. To many, it seemed Rachel had become a symbol of their frustration with the direction of these remakes, as she found herself at the center of not just one, but two highly anticipated reboots, both of which were met with increasing distrust from fans. Rachel's journey to this prominent role was anything but straightforward. Interestingly, she initially turned down the opportunity to be part of this highly anticipated reboot, a choice she found quite embarrassing to discuss. It's not every day an actress turns down a role in a franchise as beloved as The Hunger Games. The circumstances around her decision were unique. Rachel revealed that she didn't have to audition for the role because it was offered to her directly, with the director promptly informing her of the filming locations. However, Rachel hesitated at that moment, not wanting to be far from her family. This choice weighed heavily on her conscience, especially when the project she thought would keep her busy ended up getting rescheduled. Eventually, she realized she wanted back in, and through her agent, she communicated her continued interest in the role. Thanks to her initial selection, Rachel was able to reclaim the role despite other actresses vying for the opportunity. However, Rachel's return to the spotlight wasn't without its complications. While navigating her involvement in the Hunger Games, she found herself at the center of another controversy, the ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike. During this tumultuous time, Rachel made comments that many found tone-deaf, especially since she had received a larger salary from Snow White than many of her peers. Critics perceived her remarks as spoiled and out of touch. With each misstep, Rachel's reputation took a hit. Many fans began to question her attitude and professionalism, viewing her as a divisive figure in an industry fraught with tension and scrutiny. The culmination of these events left her acting career teetering on the edge. It became increasingly apparent that Rachel Zegler's career, once on an upward trajectory, was now marred by her controversial statements and the reactions they provoked. Viewers were left wondering if she could recover from this spiral, or if her promising career would be irreparably damaged by her choices. As we reflect on this unfolding saga, it's clear that Rachel Zegler's story is still in motion. How will she navigate the backlash and work to restore her image in the eyes of fans? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of Rachel Zegler's controversies, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon for more movie sagas. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about her impact on the industry? Until next time, keep enjoying the magic of movies with Movie Saga.